Welcome one, welcome all. We are back here again for a fourth episode. We are chugging right along. We got things going. We are excited here at Europinion, your favorite podcast, to bring you an exciting episode with a very special guest. We have with us none other than very own Torrington High School's head coach, Mr. Eric Gamari, who's been there for a while. We're going to get into all of that. Now, again, before we get into that, you have your two favorite hosts out there, Bo, catch him if you can, catch him, and Alexander, Alex the Great. When I say great, it covers many areas. I don't want to get into it right now because we won't get to talk to you, Eric. Just know he's very great. Just know it covers everything. He's our European pro. He's pro analyst, pro player, pro trainer, pro everything. He's just our guy. All right. So I'm just here learning. He's the guy. All right. So without further ado, everybody, it's what's today's date? What's today's day? I want to be exact. It is Friday, the 21st of March. March Madness time. We got some college basketball going on. I watched a lot last night. My son is down there watching with my daughter right now. Got her in training, trying to teaching her the game. We got a system going. All right. So without further ado, as I said earlier, we have the Torrington High School head coach Eric Gamari, who has been coaching the team for 16 years now. So as a child, grew up in Winsted, Connecticut, I believe.
Correct.
His dad was the head coach at Gilbert from an early age. Played 4 years at Gilbert High School, all state by your senior year.
Correct.
Scored over 1,000. Played 4 years at WestCon, which is Western Connecticut State University. Became the freshman and JV coach for 8 years, and now serving his 16th year as head coach at THS. Crazy because I was one of your students.
Yes, you
Makes me
were.
feel like I'm so old. Wow. Not saying you're old, you still look good. Just like, wow, I was one of your students. It's crazy. All right. So, and before we get into that, and then you're an athlete. You come from an athletic family. You have a
Correct.
wife. You have a wife who was a former all-state athlete, I believe, in two sports:
Correct. Yep.
basketball and volleyball.
Yep. And I think track too.
Oh, my bad. I don't want to sell her short. My bad. And in track, my bad. Collegiate volleyball player, had her choice of what to do.
Yes.
One of the all-time great athletes we've ever had in the history of Torrington. You from Gilbert, you don't know about the Torrington history. One of the all-time greats we had in the history of Torrington. I genuinely mean this. Christine Strawson, who actually played men's league with us. She's a tough cover.
Yes.
I don't care what no one says. Very tough cover. Where you going? She's a tough cover. I mean that. All right.
Yes.
So now, as we get into it, I like to ask every guest that we have off the top. I know you're a former player. You love the game. Believe me, I've seen you play for years.
Mm-hmm.
Who were three influences of your game?
My game. Well, one is my dad because he taught me the game and spent a lot of time in gyms. Ever since I can remember, probably the age of 5, just going to the gym and just doing stuff and listening to him. Obviously, he played during the 60s, so that style is a little bit different. But guys that I would watch during my high school would be like Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, those type of players that could kind of do it all. And, they could score, but they could also set their teammates up to be successful too. So that's kind of what I like to look for, or kind of how I emulated my game a little bit.
Okay. So going down the list, are you an only child? Did you have any siblings?
Yeah, it's actually, I have a sister. It's actually her birthday today. So
Happy birthday, by the way. Which
thanks.
she older, younger?
Younger,
Was,
by a
she an
year.
athlete?
Yeah.
Was she an athlete also?
Um, she would kind of do, and this is weird how siblings go, but she would kind of do the opposite of what I would do.
Okay.
Like, so she
Okay.
had some athleticism, but then was like, well, you're doing this, I want to do that. So it was always kind of, I'm going to do something different.
And so I want to get back to that because you also have a boy and a girl of your own.
Correct.
And so I do want to get into that when it comes to, just how are they as kids? Is it the same? Is it one does one thing, the other one does the opposite? Does one follow the other? So we'll get into that. I have two younger children of my own, but Alex also has a boy and a girl who are close in age, I believe. How old is your daughter?
So my daughter is 10 and our son is 14.
Okay, so that's close. You know what I mean? So just close enough for her to follow him.
No, I'm sorry, my son is 13. He's not 14 yet,
You see
13.
what I'm saying? Let's see, let him be a kid. So
13.
so as you said, the game was different back then compared to now, right? So when did you I'm sorry, before I even get to that, I always ask everybody, when did you realize that you had a gift and a love for basketball?
Um, Probably third grade.
Hmm.
It's a funny story. Came home and my dad's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I can't follow the rec rules." I'm like, "I need to run. I need to be able to go and play." And at the third grade level, is you couldn't go past the 3 point line. I think our rules was you couldn't come out of the paint to play defense.
Hmm.
And I said, "I got to go play." And so he somehow got it set where I was playing with upper kids. I was placed with like eighth graders and playing at that level because I'm like, I just want to run around and have fun and play. And that's kind of when I kind of knew that there was something that, you're 8 years old. What do you really know?
Hmm.
But at that point, I kind of figured, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of fast. I kind of have some skill and we'll just go from there. So at
So
that age,
so when you decided to take the game serious, your dad being a coach, was he the coach at the time when you were still that young?
he was, he did he coached me when he was younger.
Okay.
And then he was the high school coach at the Gilbert School for a period of time. And then as I got older, he wanted to be able to see my games and also be around for my sister as well. So he stepped back from coaching, but he was the athletic director at the school. So he wore many hats, put it that way.
Coach, I have a question for you. Since
Yes,
you mentioned I'm the controversial one in our podcast, but I do have a serious question. I'd like to get your feelings, your thoughts on what you just said. How when you were playing, let's say youth basketball, the rules were altered, as I call them, when you're in third grade, to only play defense behind the 3 point line.
yeah,
So unfortunately, so I do a lot of youth basketball now, and the rules are still the same.
correct.
So how do you feel about changing rules of the game in order to, I don't even want to say, I can't even say accommodate the younger kids, because I actually think that's counterproductive for their development when you change the rules.
No, I agree with you. Um, you know, I'm just trying to think, like, if there's leagues or places where, and I know everyone gets nervous when a young kid he should play down or this or that, but I also think sometimes if the kid can be able to handle whatever the next level is, then you should give them that opportunity to do that on some point. But no, I do agree with you because my son is down at the fourth grade level. That you know we do need to follow the rules of a set prescribed set. Otherwise, some kids won't develop. Just the better, stronger kids will just develop, and the other kids who may be fringe players but like may develop later, that would impact them.
Right. So because that's kind of how that's my train of thought as well. Because in Europe, the way youth basketball is structured, the only thing that we really, let's say, change there, which actually makes, I think it's the most logical thing to do, is one, we just lower the hoops, because obviously the kids are not strong enough
Correct.
to even do a layup or let alone shoot at a younger age. And we do play with a more appropriate size balls at the certain ages, which here I see that everyone neglects. Uh, Kids who are in second, third grade, and maybe up to fourth grade, they play with a size 5 ball. Then we play with size 6 up until seventh, and then yes, and then after that we play with a full size ball. But the hoops do change every year. So maybe we start at 8 feet,
Mm-hmm.
then you go to 8.5, then you go to 9, And then the purpose of that is because the kids are so young, they can still develop their proper shooting form while they're so young versus shooting on a 10-foot hoop with a size 6 ball when they're still not strong enough to do that. Or even for the kids who are maybe getting stronger, they can still, per se, take a normal 3-point shot, but because the hoop is lower, they can actually still visualize and get a true feeling of the game at a younger age. And then as you are growing, obviously you're getting stronger, but you are not chucking balls. You're still developing a normal shot at a younger age versus what I witness here all of the time is
No, you're 100% correct. And to add on to that, my dad would not. God, I think it was not until seventh grade that he actually put the hoop up. To your point, he left it lower on purpose and would always be like, "Work on your form, work on your form," because like you do see that, and I see that at the youth level too. It drives me nuts. Like kids, they grip the ball wrong, and then because the hoop is at 10 feet, they get down in this position, and then it just becomes a throw, and not taking the time to develop like what the shot should look like. Because I tell my son all the time, I'm like, Owen, you're in fourth grade. That's great. You made a 3-point shot, but it took every might of you to get it there. I'm like, you're just going to develop bad habits. And at some point, when you get a little older and you start asking, well, why isn't my shot going in? I'm going to go, hey, you remember when I was telling you not to worry about that shot at that age? Like, focus on what you can do and do well, and it's a hard fight. I mean, I'm at the youth level too, and I'm like, hey, fix your hands. Don't shoot closer. Don't worry about that. And to your point, lowering the hoop would be really ideal. I 100% agree with that. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, you're
Sorry,
good.
my mic was down trying to stop the fuzz. No, so I was saying that's a great perspective. I've never even thought about the low hoop perspective of like with Michael. All we did was just everything was mid range form shooting, but he was bigger, he's a little stronger. But I do like that for younger kids for sure, being able to keep their form and the little things like that. That's really what matters to me. So that leads into my next question. I try not to give too much of my opinion right now. I want to hear from you guys for sure. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm very opinionated, so I try to just be more of a moderator when it
it's
comes to
all
this.
it's all good, Bo. It's all good.
So as we keep going, right, I do want to ask, with your dad being a basketball guy,
Hmm.
coach or just a player from back in his day. I don't know how far he went, but he was a player, coach, loved the game, it seems like.
Hmm.
How was it growing up in that household as an athlete? Did it ever put a strain on you and your dad's relationship? Were you able to keep it on the court and not bring it home? How was the work at home? Because me and Alex talk about that, in our first initial episodes with our own sons, where we have had to learn to walk that line. Now, we live in a different time now where what our
Hmm.
parents did was great for the time. Like that it got us stronger. Alex being from the not Middle East, sorry, Eastern Europe, that it's a whole different set of rules over there, especially back then. So
Yes.
my question to him was, how do you still be you but in the culture of today? So I would like to know from back then, before I get into how you coach today with your kids, how was your dad with you?
He was great. Like I don't, you know, he just had such a good perspective of it, and he never was the dad that said you got to go up and get those shots, or you never got to do this, or you never got to do that. I don't know how he did it, but he just had a knack of just when you want to talk, we'll talk.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was just it's hard to describe, but like he never pushed, I guess, an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to do this or you got to do that. It was more of like, hey, sports can help you be a driver for what you want to do in life, kind of that type of thing. And like I'm very appreciative of that, because I'm sure you guys see it too. Like if you get pushed too hard at a young age, you're definitely going to be burned out.
Mm-hmm.
And just it never happened that way. It's just always like, hey, what do you think, or what are your thoughts? Or it was just always I still to this day, and he's still alive. It's just an easy conversation with him,
Mhm.
and just going through that. So there's never any pressure, never any stuff. Always a good sounding board. Or if I felt like I was off, I'm like, hey, what do you see? And then like more like a kind of like in golf, like a swing coach. You
Mhm.
know, like you do go out and do it, and then get his feedback, and then just try to make adjustments from there.
So,
Um,
as a young man, you were always able to have that appreciation and understanding, or is this a reflection where you look back and you're like, man, my dad's always been in the moment? Was it ever like, I get it, leave me alone? Or was it like, oh, thank you, dad? Like, you know what I mean? He's really looking out for me because one of the things we talk about is kids being ungrateful. The people that push you the hardest are the ones that love you. But then it's like, those are the ones that seem to get the buck back the most. So I just wonder for you.
Yeah, no, it was never, even when going through it, like going through middle school, going through high school, even college, even coaching now. Like never asked, just hey, it's just always been he's always been a good sounding board, but never pushing an agenda per se. Like you need to do this or you need to do that. It's always been kind of like to each of us, it's like our journey and you experience it, but he's always just been a really good sounding board and support system, and that's hard to do. Like I've been trying to do that with Maya and Owen a little bit, but sometimes it's not always that easy.
Believe me, I know. So I did kind of want to lead into that. With your own kids, you said Maya and Owen, they both play?
Yes.
And what are their ages, just to give
Maya is 12, and I jokingly sent to you, I think she's going on 18. She's very opinionated. It's got everything figured out. And Owen is 9, is like the sweetest little boy ever. Doesn't want to upset mom or make anyone. He's just a people lover.
Mhm,
So two different kind of mentalities going there.
mhm,
But Maya's a little bit tougher to deal with games and after and all that stuff. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine. Yada yada.
mhm.
And Owen is much more receptive of having that conversation.
Now,
So
I do have a question. So, with your wife, Christine, right? I want to lead into that because we had that conversation before. With your wife being a high level athlete like she was, currently is, or however you look at it, how was her attitude towards competition? Was it more like Maya or Owen? And then Owen, is it whose personality do they have when it comes to playing, like being out there and playing and whatnot?
Owen is a lot like his uncle John.
So just for a little perspective, Alex, John is about what, 6'8", 6'7",
Yeah, 6'7". Yeah.
gigantic, big boy. He played up at Springfield College. Was in much better shape back then. Very high IQ player. Still plays men's league. Big boy now, but he's still a good player. Shoots the ball from Africa, but high IQ. But just they're a very athletic family. How tall is Christine, if you don't mind me asking?
5'10".
She's like Catherine's height. So they have a tall family. Her mom is tall.
Yep.
Like they're all tall. So they have a athletic family. Just saying, just for perspective. But my bad. So we're saying.
Um, no, I mean, Maya has kind of like are both person when Christine plays. It's funny when we talk about this generational too. Sometimes we as a coaching staff too, wonder like where's that killer instinct sometimes, like when we step between the lines, all I want to do is play, and I just want to play well, and I want my teammates to play well, and this is the kind of mindset. I don't ever think going in, well geez, if I miss a shot, or geez, if we lose. I never have that mindset. Is like I'm just gonna fixate on however long it is. I'm gonna go out and try to do my best and try to win.
Mhm.
Maya has that mindset very much so, and my wife does too. Owen sometimes, you
Sweetheart.
know, sweetheart wants to make sure everyone's having a good time.
Hmm.
But it's just cool to see different personalities and how they go about it.
So, Alex, you got anything you want to say? Okay. So, I want to lead into your coaching now, right? Because I know you don't have a lot of time. You got things you got to do today. So, I want to lead into your coaching because you said you coach JV and you said
Sub, yeah, freshman.
freshman and
Yeah,
JV. Where at?
I did a little bit of time at Chippewa, and then I did Gilbert for 2, and then Litchfield Boys for 4 JV.
Okay, so what were some things that what are some things you learned in your first initial years that you may not have understood as a player that you learned as a coach?
Um, as a player, that's we always jokingly say playing's a lot easier than coaching. But the organization aspect, I think, at the first 4 years, just kind of understanding what it means to like look at all 3 levels. When you're playing, and then obviously if you play at a high level, you have really no idea what the lower levels look like. And so then being reflective of that. And then I've always kind of been reflective of all the teammates that are on the team, but truly understanding how to get the most out of, hey, some people may only play freshmen, some people may only be JV players, and trying to make sure that their experiences are positive and not walking away like, man, I don't really like this game or
So
whatever.
I want to comment on that right quick, right? Just give a little. So, Alex, let me give you a little more because I'm over here being vanilla. Let me give you a little more of who Gamari is, okay? This is a guy, and I mean this genuinely, okay? Like from the bottom of my heart. He knows, and I said it before. Maybe as a kid, I have not always known things. We had a recent conversation not too long ago, I think, believe over the summer. And we
Yes,
spoke
we did.
for a while, and I called Derek after, like, yo, I like I like Eric. I like him. He knows what the hell he's talking about. And Derek's and like I told him, my best friend is Derek. He's been one of your guys. He
Yes.
played for you. You guys have a great relationship. So Derek has told me a million times, bro. He knows basketball. You got to just talk to him. And then when we had that conversation, I'm like, yo, I enjoyed this conversation so much. I wanted to have. I'm so happy we could talk up here. My
Yes.
point is, right? As a kid, I'll give you an example of how I thought like a kid. When every Friday at the YMCA, that's back in the day. It used to be live. That's when we would Friday at 5. No kids
Yes.
allowed on the court, 18 and over. You had to be able to play to get out there. And Gamari would come every Friday with his 4-on-4s,
Yes.
and he would come with his 4 every Friday. It would be him, Parkhouse,
Yep.
who has 2 sons shoot that shoot the peel off the ball. One of them plays for Kingswood Oxford. Well, they both play for Kingswood Oxford.
Correct.
One of them's a starting shooting guard, lefty, shoot the peel off the ball. His wife Christine, and then the most hated player in the YMCA, Doc. Okay, Doc was a big physical. He still works out to this day. Like Doc, he's a doctor,
Pediatrician.
pediatrician. Thank you. He's a big. I mean, work like in between games. He's working out. Like he's
Right.
doing bands and like he's one of those guys. Okay, when he screens you, you're going to feel it. You might get help a little bit. You're on mute.
As you should.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not a screen. I don't know what it is, but it's not a screen.
My bad, my bad. So my bad, my cat was over acting crazy. So, but I was saying, so every Friday, and we would have me, Ty, Sean, Derek, we would have our guys, and we're younger, so we're trying to be quick, do our thing. It's 4-on-4, so it's basically 4 1-on-1s how we played. Whoever got the rebound was more than likely shooting the ball.
Correct.
And we used to get so frustrated because these guys are, he'll have the ball. This Parkhouse is running off an off screen from Doc that you're not getting through. When he comes off that screen, and you're gonna feel that screen, and it's just years later. I laugh because that's how I try to build my team now for men.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find a Doc. Derek's my Parkhouse. I'm you. I've been trying to find a Doc that just no, you're not getting to this rim.
Yeah.
But
You need a enforcer.
it just gave me an appreciation for now that I'm older. I could look back and laugh that he was trying to win these games. He wasn't coming down here to lose and sit on the sideline. He wasn't coming to go 1-on-1. Oh, I'm better than you. I played college. No, he was coming to play the right way, the way that I enjoy playing now as an adult, the way that pass and cut and moving, the way I teach my kids, the way I teach my son. So it's just one of those things where like I look back now as a kid and I'm like, Gamari knew what he was doing. Oh, he'll knock down his J off the screen. He wasn't trying to beat you ISO. He come off the screen, freeze you, mid-range J because there was no threes. Just Go ahead.
So look, you just said the exact terms. Gamari knew what he was doing. So when I talk to kids, I talk to kids here and I talk to the parents, and I'm very European, I'm very direct, even though I've been here for 30 plus years, but but I'm European at core. And I tell the parents and I tell their kids, because you can only I mean, you guys know like what how parents think about most of their kids. Like, there is very
Correct.
few of us that have a realistic point of view for our own kids. But I tell them, everybody plays basketball. Only a few know how to play basketball.
That's a
Everybody
great point.
plays it.
And it's funny
Basketball,
because
you either know how to play it or you're not playing basketball. That's really how it is. There is no if you don't know how to drive, set a screen, right? Take a nice shot, make the right pass, have the right footwork, get a rebound, you don't know how to play basketball.
that right there is what I didn't get as a kid. So what people don't know is my freshman year of high school, I got cut from the team. Made it my
And
sophomore, made it my junior year. We actually won the state championship my junior year. I got a ring.
right.
Cut my senior year. Okay? And now as a kid, I'm a victim. It's everyone's fault but mine. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Coach don't like me. This, is that. Now I look back as a kid because I coach kids. My son is a freshman. I coach kids. Like you said, the lower level. I coach them. I was one of the lower levels. In eighth grade, I played Route 44. We didn't win a game. I was one of the lower levels. I was an Elk. Like, I was an Elks kid. I was one of those. My point being, though, I look back now and I'm like, I was a point guard that couldn't go left. I was a point guard that couldn't understand a backdoor. I didn't know the game. Even by senior year, they took a chance sophomore and junior because I could score. I'm at the Y. I got a couple moves. But by senior year, it's like, okay, you still don't know. You still can't go left like you're supposed to. Yeah, look, come on, Des. Come on, Derek. You know what I mean? It's time to bring the younger guys in. Now I'm like, who this, that? But now I get it because I'm looking at it and I'm looking at kids and I'm like, you really can't go left and you're 18? But I'm
Right.
like, I couldn't do it. So that leads into my question, which we both wanted to ask. When it comes to kids now, right? We live in a social media era, instant gratification era, where everything has to be quick. Where kids don't really want to go through the process. You see, we got the portal now in college. We have all the way up to the NBA where you get traded when you're unhappy. Kids transfer schools, high schools left and right. It goes down to AAU culture where there's a million teams. You could go to any team and be a starter if you're not good enough to play on this team.
Right.
So with that being the culture of basketball today, and you being and we're all from an era of, like I just said, I got cut. There was nothing I could do. As a senior,
I know.
there's nothing I could do. Hey, be like that sometime. That's the era we're from. That's the era you're from. Your dad, I know, Alex, where you're from. In an era today where it's not like that, where every kid is going to the NBA, if you ask their parent, how do you deal with that, like, as a coach, where it comes to, like, managing all of those things? I feel like it's so much that it's hard to just pinpoint one thing.
There's a lot of one-on-one conversations,
Mhm.
and they don't have to be long. I think I've figured that out. Short attention span as well. So it's just kind of pick your moments, and I think it goes back to just watching my dad and how he managed and how he did things, and you can tell a lot by body language
Mhm.
and just kind of sizing up and seeing, like, hey, what's going on? What are you seeing out there? Or what I stopped doing probably in the last year or two is on film with the team, like, hey, a mistake's happened. I won't do that now. I'll actually do it individually. I'll pull it up with them. I'll sit with them, and we'll go through and look at some film footage of how we can improve that. And just trying to create that dialogue that, going back to my dad, hey, I'm here for you. I support you, but here's what things we could work on to get better,
Mhm.
and just tackle it that way. Because to your point with all that social media stuff, everything, and I see it when I go into our huddle account, win or lose, they've already posted a highlight reel of the game. And I'm like, oh, no, but we did these 5 things wrong, but that is what's getting posted.
Mhm.
And so you're right, Bo, to that point. Like, they have a hard time with constructive criticism of being like, no, this is wrong, this is what needs to happen, they'll shut down.
Hmm.
So you just got to find another way in to communicate and reach them. That's all.
Do you think that's a generation? Go ahead, Alex. My bad.
No, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, all you.
No, so I wanted to ask you. I actually talked to Bo a little bit earlier, but being that you're a high school coach and now coaching, especially being a freshman JV coach,
Mm.
what are some of the common things, skills that surprises you in a good way or bad way from from the upcoming players that you're getting development wise?
Yeah, I know. I won't give the Gino line, right? Gino can say that at UConn, like they're freshmen, they don't know anything
Right.
um, when they come in. But they do. They have a sense, like from our program, they do have a sense of um, the game. They have a sense of kind of some of the structures that are in place. The one thing that I have been finding until kind of maybe they get to us or whatever, um, the studying of the game. To Bo's point, like what a screen is, or how to come off a screen, or how to move people without constantly dribbling all the time. That's like this year's group with the freshmen, that was a little bit challenging. They all thought once they got the ball they could go somewhere. I'm like, time out, hang on. That's not necessarily true because I'm not sure what your other four teammates are doing. Do you know what they're doing? No. I'm like, so kind of balancing that. Um, but they like to your point, there is some skill, ball handling, shooting, that type of stuff. But game understanding,
Hmm.
that is very much, I would say, like a gray area.
So
Like just kind
how does a player build that in your eyes?
of reps. That's not me as a coach to put them in those positions in practice. Like I will literally write stuff. Like if you saw my notes for Holy Cross this year, like I literally spent 3 hours
I
coming
don't
up
want
with
to
a
talk
Holy.
about that. I'm still hurt for you guys. I know
Like
y'all had that one. I'm hurt for y'all.
I will spend, and then obviously you have to whittle the script down, but like I will spend a lot of time trying to put them in those situations that they're going to see in the game.
Hmm.
And so obviously always balance your skill work and then like what you're going to see. At the younger level, freshman JV, it's just we got to get you reps. We got to get you playing. We got to get you playing at the speed we need you to be at. So that's a whole different conversation with them.
Hmm.
So it's a lot.
Okay, so I did want to ask, right? Because like I use my son as an example. He's over at South Kent. We're from the local area where his alternative would have been going to Housatonic High School for a public school,
Correct.
which is not really special. Doesn't specialize in basketball, if you will. In an era now where it seems like prep schools are snatching up all the talent.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, like, as a coach? First of all, is that a truth? Do you feel that those effects? And then, secondly, how do you combat it if you do, and if not, it's not a thing.
Yeah, great question, Bo. This year the MVL did lose a few players to prep school. And
I know
it's kind of
Elijah Parker left and came back from St. Thomas More.
yeah, and then WCA had a kid too.
Hmm.
Jaden Bracy
Yep.
left as well, which would have made a huge impact on their team. And then obviously Will leaving for us,
Hmm.
and it hurts the public school. But in all honesty, I don't know if the public school can compete with what private schools can do,
Hmm.
and how those rules are. They are different than the high school rules, um, and what we can and can't do. So yeah, it's just tough, and it's back to that point we've talked about here is like people believing that by going that route they have a better opportunity of getting to a higher level.
Hmm.
So I don't. Honest answer, I'm not really sure.
Alex, did you? So it sort of reminds me of like the portal right now, right? So
Yeah.
I have a friend I know who actually was playing for UMBC, really good player. They took a chance on him, and when he balled out, he actually transferred through the portal to BC, and he became one of their best players. So now he's not wrong for that, and I want him to do that because that's my guy. But it doesn't mean that UMBC is not going to feel the ramifications.
Right.
And so I feel like the lower schools of college are going to almost be like the public schools of high school, where we'll cultivate this talent, and then once it gets to a certain level, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you sustain a program when the talent that you're pouring into is can potentially and then just not using anyone particular. I know, and I could be real. This is me saying it. I had a kid that played for me
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't particular didn't get the time that they thought they should get as a younger player in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that player, through their guidance, was ready to leave
Mm-hmm.
to another school because the situation at the time wasn't fitting to them.
Right.
Now, me being the person I am, it's easy for me to say, yeah, you should do that later for them. But realistically, I'm in this air saying, listen, you weren't ready.
Right.
You just came here from somewhere else. You weren't ready. You got to go back. And then, so after he actually did that, went back, got his ego out the way, went back, he wound up having a really good season
Mm-hmm.
and became one of the best players in the league for
Mm-hmm.
for doing what he's doing. But I say that to say we live in an era where now kids, it's microwave. Kids can just leave.
Yeah.
Oh well, because I'm out. He's not playing me. I'm not the best player. I'm not getting 30 shots. I'm gone. And I see coaches talk about, with this NIL deal thing, your college coaches, they talk about kids now have the audacity on the football side to say, if I come here, I got to play 90% of the snaps.
That's crazy. I know.
This position. And it's like, and that's what it's becoming now, where kids are like, listen, if I don't get the ball 5 times in this position, I'm going to go to this school because I know this coach would do it.
Right.
So how does, like, with those things being real factors in basketball nowadays? Because again, your dad would have told you shut up and ride the bench until you get better.
Most in all likelihood, yes.
That's what now again, not maybe not in those terms. Again, I don't want to make him sound like a barbarian, but he would have just told you, like, listen, buddy, you got to get better. You got to work. Me, I'm the same way with my son. I know Alex is with his. I would like to know in this era, like, is that a hard thing to navigate? Because if you coach a kid too hard, you can't be Patino and Bobby Knight and those guys, because if you coach them too
Correct.
hard, they'll just leave.
Correct. No,
So,
and that's a really good point, and it's a balancing act, and just trying to get them to trust you that you're going to put them in the right situations,
mhm.
and like you know, build that bond and that relationship. That hey, this is the place you need to be. This is if you go elsewhere, it may or may not work out. But here, you're known to us. We know what you do, and I like to think that no matter what team I have, like I'm going to try to build the team to what their capabilities are and try to get them to play beyond their capabilities.
as a,
Um,
as a coach, do you feel it's best to get players that fits your system or adjust your system to the players that you have currently?
I adjust to them because it's way too hard at the public level. Because every kid, there are some similarities along the way that you can kind of plug in, and doing this for a while, you can kind of plug in and play that. But honestly, like I'm already in what do we need to do better for next year mode. I'm already asking guys, hey, what do you want to look at? What do you want to adjust? What do you want to tweak? What do you see?
Hmm.
That type of stuff. I did that quite a bit this year, to be honest with you. Like my seniors and the younger guys, they led the team meetings. I gave them what they needed to do for the scout. They wrote it out. I said, and then I just threw scenarios at them. I said, what if they do this or what if they do that? And then they were like, oh, we can do this then. And
Hmm.
so they started just building in the counters themselves.
So,
So
so
yeah,
throughout your history of coaching at THS, I know you've had some really talented players, whether it's Desmond Williams, Martin, Joel. These are guys that gone on to play college, pro, whatever it is, right?
yeah,
Some prep school guys like Dante. You've had a lot of really good players.
yeah.
How do you, as a coach, choose and decide whether to give players more leeway? Like, because you have a Desmond Williams who I call them gray area players. You have your black and white players. then you have your players like Desmond who thrives in he can make something happen on his own.
Yes,
Like
very
he's that
easily.
good,
Yeah,
very easily.
yeah,
Played pro. Desmond's a very good player. So, but then you have some players who are good within this structure of you get them an open shot, they'll knock it down, but they might can't create their own.
correct.
How do you, as a coach, find that balance of okay, I got to be more strict with this team, whereas with this team, I could let them flow a little more because they got these three players and you know what I mean? How do you navigate those waters
Um,
when every kid wants to be Allen Iverson at that?
right. No, it's just their personalities. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. Just getting to know them. Some players, and you guys know this, some players are very quiet on the floor, but they're like deadly assassins.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the guy that's on the floor. I played with him in college. Oh my God, you never shut up the time you got on the floor to the time you got off the floor. I'm like, dude, you're my teammate, and I have a headache right now.
The Draymond
But
Green type.
yeah, like you're just like so. It's just really to your question, Bo. It just depends on their personality.
Mm-hmm.
I get very nervous when they get very quiet all at the same time. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
uh oh. Either they know what they're all gonna do, but usually that's never the case. So just trying to again find that balance and the personality with that. Like the team now, our point guard is pretty much knows what he wants to do, and he's not afraid to say what's on his mind.
He's a leader. I like him. He's a leader.
So I kind of with him, the discussion is always like, "What do you see? What do we need to do?" And then he goes, "Well, this is what I want, and this is how I think we should go about doing it." Okay, and so we just kind of go back and tweak and work on it.
So how do you convince a player, right? Like I said, you
Mm,
yourself, like you said, you never really cared too much about scoring first. It was more about getting your team involved. But you
correct.
did score. But it was
Yes.
mainly probably off of the threat of fake pass, got you. You know what I mean? So my question is, when we live in an era where everyone wants to score 100 a game, how do you keep it real with these kids and give them the like, okay, I have smaller guards sometimes. And I try to tell those guards, listen, if you want to really play basketball, no coach wants you coming in trying to be the leading scorer. It's just not
Right.
realistic. You're 5'1". You got to learn to get in the lane, shoot up a floater, make other guys better, things like that. Because if you're little, how do you, with the mindset you have for the game, does it ever like come across as a like you're trying to? How do you put these guys? How can I say it? Like, does any of them have your outlook for the game that you had at that age? And if not, how do you teach your guys to like play that role? If you want to go to the higher level, these are the things you have to do, non-negotiable.
Yeah, I just describe it like, if you guys like playing checkers, you're going to get beat. If you like playing chess, you'll win.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get them to get to see like if you study the game and your fundamentals are good and this always happens too. People that can score the ball always comes back to you. So like, hey,
Alex
let's
knows he was a big scorer in his day. He knows.
so like
Not,
figure it
not
out.
really. I was the player that the coach that you're asking coach about. I was that guy. Yeah, so I'll answer after coach finishes his thought.
Okay.
So, like, when we played St. Joe's last year in the state tournament, we were running our set chin, and at the end of the game, there was one kid on the St. Joe's team that was not guarding the back screen correctly. So we got in a timeout, and all the kids come over and go, "Coach, we're gonna run chin, and we're gonna wait till so and so comes off the screen, and we're gonna get the layup," because they all recognized, and everybody on the staff was like, "That's the guy we want to pick on."
Mm-hmm.
And we just patiently ran it through. We gave them different looks to get into the set, and then we hit like 3 layups in a row, kind of to close the deal on them. And
And
like
so it was
that's
the kids that recognized it before you even had to say it to them.
yeah,
And that's all you could ask for as a coach.
yeah. They're like they came off the floor. They're like, "Coach, we're picking on this," and like they knew not to go to ISO or panic. It's a
Mm-hmm.
state tournament game, and tournament games, everyone kind of goes somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed together. They figured it out. It was like the coolest thing. And like afterwards, I'm like, yes, all right.
And those are the
And
things that matter, truthfully.
yeah,
Alex, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I mean I I was a scorer, trust me. I was So I was a scorer in Europe before I moved to the States. I actually, in Europe, it's weird, but when I played 14U in Europe as a 13-year-old, I used to average 33 points a game. My high
Wow.
scoring game was 50. It was probably like a triple double every game for me. This was when I lived in Germany. But as a 14-year-old, 14, 15, I even played what would be considered a lower level professional level in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people may say, and this is like in 93, yeah, I was 15 years old, 1993. Professional is professional. I played with adults. I didn't play with kids, or I didn't play with high school kids. And I
Ah,
remember I came off the bench and I scored 39 points out of 69. So I was this like super talented kid, but I could score. Like I had a shot, great decision maker. But when I moved to the States, it was different. There is games I could score. There was games I couldn't score. When I played college and then actually pro in Europe, we know our role. You have a job.
correct.
Okay. And then to your point also, we know who is getting the shots. I gotta I gotta hit my open shots.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that I can score. Like people talk about this in the NBA also. Anybody can score. Like these guys didn't make it to the NBA because they couldn't score. But
Correct.
somebody is much, much better at that level, so that's why they don't score. You know? So so it was the same thing. But the point that I'm trying to make actually, how you mentioned your players, both let's say the shorter kids, or maybe like limited with the limited potential in, like that's how we refer it in Europe, limited physical potential. If you're a 5'1", or it could be a 5'5" kid, or it could be a 5'8" kid.
Correct.
Here we call it point guard in the US. In Europe we call them playmakers. The point guard is the playmaker. That's the actual name of the position.
Okay.
And it's self-explanatory. So I gotta make the plays for my team. I don't need to score. But I need to distribute the ball. I need to set my offense right. I need to drive and kick it out if that's what we need to do. I need to be the sneaky guy that will set the backdoor screen for my, let's call it my scorer, my big man to score. And then if the defense slips somehow, like I'm open for the 3-point shot, and I'll take, on a good day, 2 to 3 threes, couple of layups off of fast breaks, maybe a couple of fouls, and you still average double digits. But that's how the game really is developed. That's how they develop playmakers in Europe.
Yeah.
And then, but I believe that's something that we don't necessarily have here, but because no one wants to, not no one, but not many, unfortunately, parents first, and then kids want to buy into that. Everybody wants to shoot the ball and score the ball, and I have the same issues even at my team, even where my son plays. Like, I teach him how to be aggressive and score, but at the same time, I'm also teaching him all these different intangibles, because yeah, you can be my top scorer on my team, but the game is going to be completely different at the next level.
No, 100%. And back to and probably over time, but like I've been blessed to play on good teams. So I always find like getting your teammates involved is way better, because your team defense is gonna. No one talks about that, but your team defense will be better if everyone's touching the
Everyone's
ball.
morale goes up. They want to play. Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question before you? I know you gotta get out of this. Last question.
No, go ahead. I got a couple minutes.
Okay. Are you familiar at all with European basketball, Eastern European basketball culture, or EuroLeague, or anything like that?
I would just say only bits and pieces of it. I do see a lot of my kids talk to me, and we talk like offensive, what offensive sets and this. They do like the Euro action, so that's probably about what I know. Not other than that, I'm not too familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what we're big on. First of all, I want to help spread that culture in America, because I feel like the youth basketball development, like for example, something Alex taught me was, back home, back over there, and I believe he said 14. Correct me if I'm wrong, but kids can't run pick and roll or play zone. until they're 14 years old because you got to develop your individual skill. You got to know how to play man to man. You got to know how to, beat your guy, attack his top foot, triple threat, all of that stuff. Then as you get older, that's when you can start doing all of those things and introduce the team skill concept and all of those things. What do you think about that? Like things like that,
Uh,
kids being young, not being able to do certain things. Oh, and let me
but,
just go ahead.
yeah, listen, 100% agree. I can give you two examples. My daughters played fifth, sixth grade travel this year, and all we saw was predominantly zone.
Oh,
And
don't get me
and
started.
so, and then our team, my wife was the head coach, and we just said we're just going to play man, and we're going to teach them how to run an offense, and we're going to teach them how to play man to man. And especially at the girls level, at that age, there's really not consistently girls can't reach the rim from distance. And so basically what one team did is just pack the zone in, and the girls are looking at us and we're like, you will get better. Patience. You got to trust us. Even though the score may be 18 them to us, we're totally fine with the two because we know what you're going to look like in the future. I'm not worried about a fifth, sixth grade game right now where they're playing a pack in 2-1-2 zone, and two of the girls can't see over the zone and can't get the ball to the rim at an 8-foot mark. So,
Yeah.
but and the flip side, my boys, they had that third, fourth grade group going, and those teams strictly played man. And it looked so much better. Both teams were trying to run a man offense. Both teams were playing man to man defense. And granted, depending where they were, understanding or physicality wise, some of the scores may have been a little bit lopsided, but they played man. So I was happy to see that. But then on the girls' side, I'm like, and we're looking for girls to play. I'm like, what are we doing?
So one of
So
the things that Alex brought up in one of our clips that has a lot of views right now is that he feels youth coaches are cheating the game of basketball by playing zones and full court pressing or trapping and things. Full court man to man press is fine, but full court trapping and what he says is because at certain ages of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, even eighth grade, kids can't consistently, especially at the younger ages, can't not consistently hit threes. They can't even shoot them. They have to heat.
yeah,
So
right.
other coaches are really taking advantage of the physical limitations of kids. And
Yeah.
then when you're getting trapped, these kids can't throw it, over the trapping. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean to touch on that, just so I can give you also like my perspective, coach. It's like boss said. For one, when you play zone, I mean we all know what the purpose of zone defense is, and if you can make an outside shot, then obviously that's why you play zone. And not that they can not only shoot, they don't have their developed consistent shots up until even eighth graders. I mean, yeah, I'm lucky. Like I have on my team eighth graders. Then people play zone, we actually destroy them. Like God forbid it's a hot day, and I mean, like my kids hit up and we hit like 13 threes on them. That's basically the game. But besides that, also they're not strong enough. Whether you play zone or when they play the zone presses, you're not even strong enough to do a skip pass, right? Like you're
Correct.
not strong enough. So now in Europe, the reason why we don't do it, that's why I call it you're cheating the game, because coaches know
Thank
that's a
you.
limitation. That's not a skill that you can even teach at that time because they're not strong enough. So now you are cheating that part of the game. And then you're also, by playing zone, not that you are not allowing the kids, and that's why it's forbidden in Europe. You are not allowing the offense and the defense to learn their individual responsibility and accountability. It's different when you can, let's call it play zone, play man-to-man press, because you are forcing the kid to play correct defense. You're also forcing or exposing the other player to ball handling, to actual ball handling, bringing the ball up, using his right and left hand, and then making that one pass, because there is no double teaming also up until maybe 12 or even 14. There is no double teaming, but if he goes by your man, you can help, and then you're developing that part of the game where, okay, help comes, you're not going to go through three people now, you'll make that extra pass. So that's why the zone presses as well are not allowed, because once you get older, I mean, if they were so, like what I say, if zone presses were so efficient, everybody would be doing it at the higher level. But how
Correct.
many times do we really see that it actually works? You'll catch a team off guard, like 1-2 plays, and that's all you need at that level. But other than that, after that, it's a simple boom, 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 and that's it. So that's why in Europe it's forbidden. Here you take that part of development away from the kids, and not just from the offense, but also from the defense. Then your child never learns how to play man-to-man defense. Then you go to high school, and now that's why I asked my previous question to you. You go to high school, and some of these kids don't know how to play man-to-man.
No, it is it is very difficult when
Remember,
people.
he got to watch what he says because he's still actively
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah.
He has to be diplomatic. He can't be
Listen,
like,
I'm holding back too, so trust me. I like.
you got to do.
Yeah, like, and I say this to my JV and freshman coach now. I said, if you have to play a zone for whatever reason, you can, but for the most part, we're going to play man. I said, I don't really care what the freshman record is. I don't care what the JV record is. This is all developmental.
Mm-hmm.
And even at the youth level, like, big deal. You won or lost, but I always say this. It's always how it looks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if we're doing the right things, you're going to win. If you're not doing the right things, well, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to skill development and what you're focusing in and what you want your kids to be able to do. So
So,
I'm in 100% agreement. Those European rules should be coming over here for the youth level.
so really quick. So one of my big sentiments is I'm lucky to have my kid's mother. She's a former All-American athlete in water polo, so she's very competitive.
Oh, wow.
I never have to combat her. If anything, it's like I'm like, baby, you think he could rest today? She's like, no, 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 he needs to go work out. I'm like, oh, okay. I just wanted to relax, but all right. So, but I just say that to say she made it very easy for me to, like she's always been on board. So I would like to ask you first, your mom, was she a former athlete? And if she was or wasn't, how did her and your dad ever butt heads on him maybe being too hard on you, him pushing you too much, anything like that? That you were privy to at least.
No, unfortunately for my mom, and my mom harbors a little bit of this once in a while. She grew up before Title IX in women's sports. Like, so she's a product of the 50s and 60s, and she got told when she graduated high school she was going to be secretary, and that was it. And so that tends to come up once in a while. Like, and I get it. There's opportunities, much more opportunities for women today, which is great. But she never once. No, my dad, my mom was pretty calm. She not an athlete. My grandfather loved the Celtics.
So,
So,
so I would like to
but
juxtapose that to Christine, knowing she
yeah,
grew up an athlete. How is that and with that dynamic? Because as I said before, really quick, I've dealt with moms and dads, dealing with kids where the dads, like me and Alec disagree on this one, where the dads think they know what is best for the kids, which is hard work, and the mom is just that a mom. So her
yes,
primary concern is his safety, his happiness, his health, those things. So I've gotten on kids, and moms have no, 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 not my son, and the dads would be like, no, no, sit down, sit down. He knows what he's doing. So whereas with me, I got Catherine who was like, we're both on him the same way. It's like, hold on, coach, let me jump him too. Let me put this elbow in on him. All right, now your turn again. So with Christine, right, who's a competitor, I know because I've gone against
yes,
her. She don't
yes.
care if you're a guy or girl, she's gonna compete. I mean,
She's gonna compete.
she's gonna compete. So how is she when it comes to being on like is she more calm like you guys, or is she like, come on, I'm gonna kill you? Like,
Um, she's very good at doing both.
okay.
Like, again, reading people, feeling it out
Because
when.
she's a sweetheart, by the way. I don't put that out there. Christine's to me, Christine's very nice. Now you're married; it's a little different. But like, I don't want to make it seem like she's just this over competitive, like hulking behemoth. No, she's a very nice person. Like seriously.
No, but I mean, and to your point, like, when we all get between the lines, like,
Mhm.
she has her non-negotiables, and what she's looking for. And, and I think she's also a very good feeler of reading people. And coaching girls and having the experience is much different than coaching boys. And so she has a very good feel for how to work with the girls and how to push the buttons to get them where they need to go.
Okay.
So yeah, she's good. She has the moment where like, what are you doing? And then the moment of where she'll put the arm around and, hey, come here. This is what I need you to do. And I think I've learned a little bit of that too. Like I'm very much less like, what are you doing? And sometimes I'm like, hey, come over here. Let's have a little hug. Let's have a little talk here.
Okay.
And figure this out.
Okay.
So
Alex,
yeah.
anything else you want to add? So I know you got to get out of here. Listen, we truthfully appreciate your time. Uh, everything. If there's any questions you may have or anything before we get out of here, um, good luck this upcoming season and whatnot. I know it's going to be a while off, but again, we're very appreciative. There's some things I learned from you big time just from our conversation we had, and when it was just me and you, and it gave me a lot of perspective. And Derek knows how I feel. That's my guy. Like he knows how I feel about first of all your basketball intellect. And you can ask Alex before you was even in here.
Yeah.
Alex, what was I saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I told him, I kept
yeah,
it real. I said I wasn't always, as a younger kid, I wasn't the most fond of them because I was a victim.
yeah.
I thought I knew everything. Oh, they don't like me. They don't like. It's not the fact that I'm sitting on the court being a jackass. It's they don't like me. You get what I'm saying? It's not the fact that I'm being unruly and ignorant.
They didn't teach that at AAU, coach.
They don't like me. You know what I'm saying?
It's not Bo's fault.
Wasn't my fault. Believe me, I learned it wasn't my fault. But as I talked to you, because and you said some things to me on the phone, like, listen, I'm not dumb. When I have certain players, there's more freedom. When I don't have certain players, there's gonna be less freedom. That's just basketball. And I'm like, yo, you're right. I'm letting my personal emotions get in the way. I don't see Des Williams walking through that door. And to be real, I've seen Des drop 40 for you against Holy Cross or whoever, or
Right.
Naugatuck. I've seen Martin catch dunks for you. Like, I've seen you let the guys be the guys.
Right.
So my point is, I appreciate it. I wish you nothing but success as you keep going. And Alex, anything you want to say?
No, thank you. Thank you for your time. It was great to get your input on everything.
No, hey, and I'd love to come back some other point down the road too and
Sure.
talk and definitely talk more about European versus United States development. I'm love that stuff. That is awesome.
So I will send you some stuff. I look because Alex sends me Instagram stuff of just the atmosphere of what it's like over there. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's like, you know what I mean. It makes so it's one of those things. Where our goal is to we're gonna do it. If the Lord's willing, we're gonna shoot a show over there.
I mean,
That'd be wild.
I'll tell you this much, and then maybe we can, like we can go and we'll meet up again. But the one big thing in Europe is also, yes, we play sports for fun. Okay, it needs to be fun at a very young level.
Correct.
But you get to fourth, fifth grade, yeah, fun. There is no more fun in Europe. It's not the structure is not like here. There is no AAU teams where you can just pay yourself into playing on a team and just playing tournaments and games. It's not like that. You basically have professional teams with their sub developmental teams. So
Like what Luka did with Real Madrid, right?
right. So
Wow.
every team, and they don't have to be. You have the top teams, and that doesn't mean that the top teams have the best development. No, they don't have the best development. Sometimes it's the more regional teams per se. Like it doesn't have to be New York City. It could be a team in Connecticut or a program or a small team in Connecticut that has a developmental program. So when the kids play, they play to become professional athletes. They're not playing to get into high school. High school we don't have high school basketball there.
Got you.
We don't have college basketball there. You can come to college here, yes, but they play to become professional athletes or play for the national team. So their hunger is different. People here talk about hunger and all this stuff. No, it's different. Then obviously it's the practice time. We practice 5 days a week, maybe even 6. If you're lucky, you play the 1 game a week. And then also from the coaching perspective, why the development there, I feel, is more appropriate besides the fact that the rules are set in place and you must abide by those rules that we discussed earlier about no zone defense and certain things, lowering hoops, basketball size, the coaches are actually educated coaches, meaning just because you played high
Not
school
just someone's
basketball,
uncle down the road.
so you cannot become
Like
exactly.
AAU. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not saying you, but like for AAU, how it's like some you ask your brother to just pay $250 to put you in a tournament this weekend with your team.
right.
AAU
Like
coaches want to be
it's
friends with the
insane,
players.
like what goes on here. So it can't be like that, and that's why the development here has been watered down so much because it's become obviously too commercialized and it's a big business, and then that's why Europe, as we say, is catching up. I mean, it's catching up. It's catching up because the development here dropped, and Europe is catching up for those reasons. And now European players are becoming not as athletic as in the U.S. They never will be, but they're becoming more athletic than they were in the past.
No, you definitely that. You can definitely see the landscape changing a little bit on that. So yeah.
So again, we'd love to have you back because again, today was our inaugural episode with you. We wanted to hear about you. We want
Yes,
to hear
love to
about
come back.
your journey, your coaching. But next time, I want to just talk. Next time, it's gonna be a free conversation, just talking basketball. You know what I mean? This was
X's
more
and
of a want
O's,
to know who
love
you
it.
are. All right.
Uncensored.
Right. Oh, uncensored, uncensored. You know what I mean? That's gonna be your opinion after dark. You know what I mean? That's our 3 p.m. and later show.
Free speech. Hey, it's Friday. Free speech Friday. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. There you go.
All right, guys,
Hey,
man. I appreciate
th-
it.
thank you. Thank you
Later,
both. Talk to you
later, buddy. You
soon.
guys have
You.
a
Be
good
well,
night.
guys.
Have a
All
good
right.
day.
Awesome.